Hello, welcome to the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. We're in the Turret of Pleasure. I'm your host, Lord Chamberlain of the Enchanted Kingdom, Zipgun. We're doing our series, Where Not to Start. And we're picking various bands and saying to a potential novice, okay, don't buy that one, buy this one. So where not to start. I've decided to go where not to start. It started out as that. And that's sort of a stretch now, but I'm going to do it like this anyways. So I've been getting some challenges from listeners. Somebody said The Fall. Well, okay, where do you not start? Where do you not start with The Fall? Well, boy. The Fall, their only constant member was Mark E. Smith, the lunatic poet of Manchester. Their sound didn't change a lot. It was very sort of shambolic, basic rock and roll, anti-virtuosic, big rhythm. I don't know how to describe it really, but rock and roll for sure. Punk rock by kind of association really, but it wasn't usually very fast necessarily. And at first, not particularly well accomplished musically, technically. They made 1 million records. They went through 1 million band members. They had hit singles in England. They persisted forever. And they're a darn good band. They're John Peel's favorite band, I believe. They might well have been David Wisdom of the CBC's favorite band. And there's a lot of stuff to wade through. And I was trying to think, what's a good rule of thumb for if you're going to see a Fall record? Let's say you find a Fall record in the thrift store, which I have done, believe it or not. I found one of their bootlegs on Cog Sinister in the thrift store. Who knew? But what do you look for? Well, I'll tell you what, and this guy can sort of cross-fertilize this a bit. Maybe try to make sure that whatever one you get has Steve Hanley playing bass on it, and or his brother Paul Hanley playing drums. This is a great book, The Big Midweek. This is a reminiscence. He did a very long tour of duty in the Fall. This book is very funny. It's really, it's the last word on this band. And he participated in all of their best records. They made a series of very good ones for Beggar's Banquet. They made a couple of very curious ones for a label called Camera, which went broke almost immediately. They did a lot of good stuff for Rough Trade. Avoid the later stuff. As in fact, Mr. Smith, after a certain point in time, well, in the early days, his significant other was their manager, I believe. And then he dumped her and picked up an American who became their lead guitarist. And then and she did lots of good work with them, although it really changed their sound, needless to say. And after that relationship died, he sort of took up with a series of, I believe, female keyboardists, none of whom were really here or there. And so, other than Brix E. Smith, his first wife, I believe, you might want to just not bother with the ones with his later lady friends on it, because they're all good, but they're not. A lot of they were remarkable at not being over polished, even though they were in the business for 30 years. Hanley's book is great because despite the fact he was in the band forever, I think he works as a security guard now. It's not like they made much money. And they're really well worth checking out, though. If you can find any of the stuff on Rough Trade, any of the stuff on Beggar's Banquet, all well worth seeking. And earlier the better, I think, for the most part. The early stuff featured a guy named Mark Riley, and he, like everybody in this band, eventually ran afoul of Smith, and he fired them. So there was Martin Brahma on guitar, and Una Baines on organ in the early days, and that was a great addition to the band, but unbelievably crude, just really, really, really crude. And that band kind of morphed into the sort of Hanley Craig Scanlon on guitar, band. And that band lasted for a while and probably did their best work. So those are names to look for. But where not to start? Don't start with anything in, 2000s. It's probably all mostly just, well, it's all okay. I mean, he even did some records with like Cold Cut that were okay. So there's no terrible Marky Smith. There's only better and less better. So I hope that's as much help as I can be with the fall. It's tough with these artists that are almost all good. So anyway, there you have it. We're keeping them short. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll notify you when we're done, etc., etc. And we will talk at you soon. Thanks for watching.